And then we also put up there who had the worst
Who?
week. The Philadelphia Eagles, Russell Wilson and the Broncos, Panthers owner David Tepper, or NFL referees. Right now, 46% have the referees as having the worst week.
Well, it was only the group that did the Lions-Cowboys game.
Yeah, you could probably expand that. They're just getting the most attention.
I would say Russell Wilson, because he got kind of embarrassed, humiliated there. And his numbers are better than Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I don't know if people really want to point that out or care about that, but I was looking at the numbers. He's done a pretty good job. What, Todd?
No, not Russell Wilson. I'm surprised a sneaky one of the Toronto Raptors lost to a Pistons team that had lost 28 games in a row. That's someone that you could say had a bad day or week.
Okay, but the Pistons had a good day.
They did.
Yeah.
That's the positive way to look at it.
Yeah.
That is a little humiliating for Toronto.
Okay. But going back to Russell Wilson, so after the Chiefs win, after they beat the Chiefs, they decide that they're going to bench him for financial reasons. Now, I like how the word got out to some of these people who carry water for some of these coaches, and they're like, oh, no, it's a football-related, they're going to bench him. They need a little spark. I'm going, you guys made yourself playoff eligible. Like, you were going for this is about financial reasons. First and foremost, because Russell Wilson hasn't played bad. He's played good. He's played well. But, I get it. I understand, so the GM who made this trade, and who is it, George Payton? He now wants to clean up his mess, and new ownership comes in. They got to be going, who greenlit this trade here? That guy right there. I'm going to bench him, so maybe we could save. They don't want him to get injured, and then they would have to. It's fully guaranteed next year, and they ask him to maybe restructure some things here. And then Russ said no, reportedly. So, he got humiliated. I don't think Sean Payton has ever been a Russell Wilson fan. And when you yell at your quarterback, he was on the sidelines and he was yelling at Russell Wilson. So this is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. You can say maybe he's playing himself out of the Hall of Fame, but he is a Hall of Fame talented, credentialed quarterback right now. And you're yelling at him. That doesn't happen very often. Never happened to Drew Brees and Sean Payton. And I think that's where you go, man, this isn't going to end well. And they gave up so much and they spent so much. And, they're kind of stuck with this. Yes.
It's kind of weird, though, for Sean Payton to take that job then if he wasn't a fan of the quarterback that was a year into a monster mega deal they just gave him.
Well, I think he probably wanted the Chargers job. And, I think sometimes you get into that, I'm ready to coach again. Well, the Charger job's not opening. Now, if you said to Sean Payton he could coach the Broncos next year or the Chargers next year, he'd want to coach the Chargers. But he didn't have that opportunity, so he goes to Denver, and they paid him a lot of money. And now that's a terrible situation. And if you're Russ, what can you get for Russell Wilson? Because Atlanta would be interested, Pittsburgh would be interested, New England's going to be interested. Are you going to cut him? Are you going to trade him? I mean, is Jared Stidham going to be your quarterback next year? I don't know if he has a no trade. He probably does, given that contract. I mean, man, that's bad. And they were playing. They were competitive. Now, granted, and they just won this past weekend. But, I like Russ. He's been a frequent guest. Before he got to Denver, he was a frequent guest on this show. I don't know if we had him since he's been in Denver. Has he, Todd? Have we had Russell Wilson Jr.?
I don't think so. We got a lot of polite declines.
Yeah.
He's kind of focusing on
what's
his
going
football.
on? What's focusing on? So he wasn't focusing on his football when he was in Seattle?
That's
all right.
no comment.
It's been a couple of years for the lad. I don't blame him for dialing back media.
No, he should have. But, I like taking advantage of the fact that he did want to come on. And when we got him talking about not wanting to stay in Seattle, and that was a big deal. Yes, Tom.
But they had that 5-game winning streak for whatever it's worth, and they beat the Chiefs. You thought maybe somewhere in there Russ might have popped on for a few minutes while things were riding high a little bit?
I mean, his numbers aren't bad, Paulie.
Russell Wilson is the 7th-ranked quarterback in the league in quarterback rating, which, again, doesn't prove anything. But, Goff is behind him. Jordan Love's behind him. Justin Herbert's behind him. Patrick Mahomes, Matt Stafford are all behind him. He has 28 touchdown passes, Russell Wilson, and 26 touchdown passes and 8 picks. That's top 4 in the league in touchdown to interception ratio.
Yeah.
It doesn't look as well because they're not winning those games, but the stats are not bad.
Well, he was terrible his first year. But, this year I thought that he represented himself quite well.